Hi. Hey. Hi, it's me, your void, and we're dealing with a new background and shitty audio because I am currently babysitting my puppy and I cannot have him in my room because he would shred everything in there. So, we're here. I felt like a random recommendation video again. I have that urge quite a lot, it seems. And today we get even more random. We are gathered here today because I felt like a random recommendation video with the random topic of all vibes, no plot. That is pretty much the rule for this. Say hello to the video. That's me here. Will you behave or do I have to sit you down again? Special guest star, I guess. I just felt like it. There is no reason for me to recommend these books specifically. There's no reason for me to make this recommendation video. I just felt like it, so now we're doing it. Oh god, he's crawling on the table. How about you take a nap? How about you take a nap? My first recommendation is the end-all, be-all of no plot, all vibes, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. And this is the epitome of the only vibes, no plot, because even if you find a shred of plot, there is a chance that you will lose it within approximately 0.03 seconds. The plot doesn't matter in this one. This is the story of Zachary Rollins, who at one point in his life finds a book, and he starts reading the book, and the book happens to be the story of his life, quite literally. So he tries to figure out, where does this book come from, where does it want to go, and if there is a man called Cotton Eye Joe in there, and this book leads him to a sort of extra-dimensional magical library that has a bunch of books about people's lives, and he meets a bunch of very strange people in this library and around this library and whatnot. And like I said, there is no real plot. I'm pretty sure there is a plot in there. I haven't found it. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars when I read it. Not quite sure what happened, but I love Zachary, I love Dorian, I love all of the characters in this weird little book. And the vibes come into play when you have all of these stories within this story, and you read them and they don't really have any kind of context until like 7 chapters later, when like one detail of that fairy tale you had to read suddenly comes into play to fix an issue these characters have. And I kind of love that, because in these fairy tales people also tell stories, so it's very much like one of those Russian nesting dolls, a matryoshka of stories, where the story tells a story that then becomes relevant for the story of this actual book, and it's just beautiful. All of these characters also are storytellers to varying degrees. And then on top of it all, this giant library that just doesn't make sense. The library itself is just this extra dimensional box within a box within a box filled with magic, but it's not magic. It's the stories inside of the library, but at the same time it's the stories outside of the library, right at the library, which then writes the books. It's beautiful. This is just beautiful. I love this when I read this. The audiobook definitely made the parts that are confusing a bit more bearable. So if you're not vibing with the book itself, maybe try the audiobook to get through it. But I love this. I loved this. The next book I have, it does have a plot, just not a lot of it. And 90% of the book is side quests from the characters in it, because the characters are who the characters are. I am talking about The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonald, don't eat my book, which is the story of a very fringe, very niche newspaper called The Stranger Times. And they have this mission of reporting about the strange and weird stuff in the world, like aliens, like demonically possessed toilets, like the maybe existence of vampires. We follow this lady, her name is Hannah, and she's a bit down on her luck, so she randomly applied for a bunch of jobs, and she got an interview at the Stranger Times, and then she just randomly gets the job on accident, and we go from there. Oh my god, the dog just farted. This story is mostly driven by the over-the-top characters. We have 2 writers in here. They are roommates, legitimately roommates. One of them believes in aliens but not ghosts. The other one believes in ghosts but not aliens. They have to work together. They have to live together. The editor-in-chief randomly threatens people with his gun only to shoot himself, and instead of worrying about his foot, all he worries about is the fact that he can't own his gun anymore. The guy who's running the printing press is naked 90% of the time and speaks of himself in the third person. Yeah, we have to handle all of this somehow, and the plot in here, there is this kind of mystery plot. There is a person doing things, very strange things that the Stranger Times would report on, but the main focus of the book is these characters trying to survive each other while also trying to publish a new edition of this newspaper in order to keep the lights on in this office. And it is hilarious. The humor in this is very British. The humor in this is very, very British. I myself enjoyed it, even though I'm not a British person, but I do tend to have a British humor. I do like that specific kind of humor. It is right up my alley. So if you're not into British humor, stay away from this. But if you are into British humor, go for it. This stuff is hilarious. I really need to continue with this series. There's also a podcast to it, also called The Stranger Times, and they have like these fake news reports if you're interested. Next up, we have another book that has some sort of plot to keep the whole structure up, but the vibes are what carries said structure, and that is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This is I like to call this a vegetarian retelling of Frankenstein, because you have this botanist and this taxidermist, and they are madly in love with each other. They have a very peculiar kind of relationship. First and foremost, they live in a greenhouse. How cool is that? And one day they decide they want to have a daughter. And they decide the best plan of action is to steal a corpse and use it as the soil for a specific kind of fungus, and then slap some plants on top of it that have different functions in order to make this a person of sorts. And that is more or less the plot. And over the course of this book, you see these two guys come up with this plan, execute the plan, see the plan fail, throwing away the plan, all the while they are kind of losing their marbles along the way. It's a beautiful story. It's very atmospheric. My puppy is currently eating my toes, and I just love that. This is messy in the best kind of way, because in order to get out of the problems these guys make, they come up with more problems. They have a very peaceful life, and then they have this one idea, and then they execute, and then they bring this idea to life, and this idea comes with so many problems, but instead of fixing the problem, they make more problems. It is so good. So good. I recommend reading this in summer, because the vibes of this are very much summer. It takes place in summer, and the writing in this is so lush that I could feel the humidity of this greenhouse, that I could almost smell these flowers. It's really, really good. Next up is one of my absolute favorite books of all time, and that is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. In fact, the entire Wayfarers series is all vibes, little to no plot. In this first book, we follow the crew of a spaceship whose job it is to literally punch holes into the fabric of space to then fold it together so people can travel faster. In order to do that, they have to travel to where the hole should go, punch the hole, go all the way back, and then you have this established corridor. And we follow this crew on a trip to a very small and very angry planet, and this takes like a year. Like this job is like a year long, and we follow this crew. And that is all we do. We hang out on their spaceship and see their day-to-day life in this semi-isolation. Like in the beginning, yes, they are in like the galaxy's society. The puppy wants to come up again. Like in the beginning, they're still in known space, so they can visit planets and everything. But then at some point, they just leave known space, and they are like all alone with their thoughts and their 7 people strong crew of mismatched characters and alien races. It's very much a found family thing, and the character dynamics are unbeatable, and it's just, I don't know. There is not much more to say. It's just very beautiful. Becky Chambers has a way of writing characters and cultures and rituals of these cultures. It's so good. And as of filming this video, I have confirmation that there will be a new Becky Chambers in October, and I am so here for it, because this series is gold. Still need to finish the series out. I have one more book and then the novella in the Wayfarer series, and after that I want to read the Monk and Tea duology, I guess. Yes, yes. If you want cozy vibes in space, yes. And the last recommendation in terms of all vibes, little to no plot that I have is the Singing Hill Cycle by Nevo, which has quickly become one of my favorite series of novellas. I already made a video where I hyped it all up. It's a video about novellas. Go check it out. I will link it somewhere up here and also probably down there. I don't know. And the Singing Hill Cycle by Nevo is a collection of novellas. They are all like under 200 pages long. And we follow this monk cleric named Chi, and their only job in life is to chronicle everything they see, they experience, the people they meet, the places they go, stuff like that. So they go these places and they just record history as it is right now. They record the present and then at one point it becomes history, right? The first one, the Empress of Salt and Fortune, I think it was called. Chi is going to this old place where people were previously not allowed to visit, but now they are allowed to visit, so Chi goes there and just records what they find in this house. A jade statue buried under a plank of wood, some clothes, some paints, stuff like that. And while they are there, they meet this person. And this person has lived and worked at this house. So this person, while Chi is recording all of these items, tells Chi the stories of what has happened in this house with the people in this house. And she records all of these stories because it is history and it is their job to record history. In the first one, there is this little mystery. Like you hear all of these tiny stories and they don't really add up. It's just the life of a random person. And by the end, you're like, wait, what? This is where this was going? Okay, didn't think about that. And then you have the second one. In the second one, you just have this fairy tale whimsy energy of Chi is trapped up on a mountain with a mammoth and a mammoth rider, and they can't escape because they're kind of snowed in. And there are 3 tigers. And the 3 tigers are kind of just trapping them in there, and the tigers are like, okay, you have 2 options. A, you tell us a really, really, really good story. B, we eat you. So Chi tells a story, and it's a story about one of those tigers, or rather of something that happened in the tiger's history, and the tigers are like, no, this is not how it happened, and they correct Chi on it. And because Chi is so nice and friendly, they manage to get through this encounter. And all of these novellas have this wonder, this whimsy, this magical realism kind of. Like, no one is questioning the fact that these tigers could speak. No one questions the fact that there's a mammoth. And it's just, these novellas are just so good. They're so good. They give me this childlike wonder that I kind of crave sometimes. I would not recommend reading these to your children as like actual fairy tales, but if you are yourself craving that kind of vibe, go for it. Can only recommend it. I mean, duh, this is a recommendation video after all. So there you have it. While my puppy is eating my shoe, I present to you a bunch of books that have more vibes than plot. And if you are craving a read with low stakes and not a lot of twists and turns you need to follow, I can only recommend picking any of these books up. And yeah. If you made it to the end of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you have any other recommendations that are 90% vibes, 10% plot. I myself am not someone who is into the whole cozy fantasy trend, so those kind of books don't really tend to do it for me. There has to be something that is at least funny. I'm just not for cozy reads. So for me, finding a good read that is mostly vibes is kind of hard to do. So if you have any recommendations, let me know, because I crave those. Not often, but sometimes I do. And if you don't want to talk to me at all, leave a dog emoji in the comments down below, given that there is currently a dog right underneath me chewing at my shoe. That's it. That has been my short and quick recommendation video, and I guess I will see you in the next video. Bye!